In this video I'm going to be solving some of these, or drawing orthogonal third angle projections of some of these drawings. So this is from the orthogonal isometric task 2. It's the one with the Spanish on the top. So I've got a couple of pictures here. I'm starting with drawing number 2 on this chart. I'm going to be using green to represent my thin construction lines. You should draw these with a sharpened 2H pencil. And I'm going to use black to represent my 0.5mm HB thick dark lines. These should be drawn with, the black lines should be drawn with a mechanical pencil with HB leads that is 0.5mm thick. Remember to draw straight on the piece of paper, not an edge, because otherwise your line will get thinner. Okay, to start off with, I'm going to say that for all of these drawings, we're viewing from the bottom left. That was the what I established in the homework, so we're going to say from the bottom left. I don't know if that's ideal, and I'm just worried that the camera is going to block that out, so we're just going to know that. So, to start off with, in third angle projection in Australia, we use third angle projection. That means that we always draw the top view on top. So we draw how it would look from the top first. So, to start off with, we can always just draw a green line at 90 degrees. That's always useful. There's no time where that's bad. Then what I'm looking 3 blocks across. I'm going to draw that line down because I've said this is 3 blocks. You'll be drawing those at 5mm per block, but for me, I'm setting them at about 50mm. That's what I'm trying to do in my mind. Okay, so then I'm going to go 5 blocks down, and I'm eyeballing these because we're allowed to do these freehand. And I've said that, so it's 3 by 5. I have, in between that, I have, in the middle, I have something that's 1 block wide. And then that's pretty much my top view. I'm not going to put it in dark lines yet. I'm going to go over it in a second. But, you know, this first time around, I will go over it now. Now, you can notice that sometimes my dark lines will miss a little bit compared to the construction lines. But remember that I'm not only doing this freehand, I'm doing it 10 times the size. Okay, so I'm going to allow a small gap below here. It should be at least 20 to 30mm. 30mm if you plan on writing text. In our case, we don't need to write text, so you could get away with 20mm. And I'm then going to draw another perpendicular line. And again, it's hard to imagine that's ever really going to be a bad thing. Even if I'm not using that line too much, it gives me the highest point of the drawing. Now, this object is 4 blocks high. So 4 blocks high looks something like that. And I'm now drawing the bottom of the object. So that line represents the bottom of the object. Now what I'm going to draw is I'm going to get my set square out. I'm going to draw a 45-degree line through here. Now, just to finish off this view, we've got this black pen is maybe not as thick and dark as I would like. So, let's see what else I can come up with. Take a chance with this one. Oh, much better. Okay, so that's our front view. Now, what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to draw from this one on, after this one rather, I'm going to draw everything with the green, and then I'm going to draw the other ones down. So because I've drawn this line at 45 degrees, that means this dimension here is the same as the width of the object. And what this will do is this effectively gives us the view from the right. So if we're looking at the front view is from here, if we were to walk around to the side and look at this right-hand side, so we put the right-hand side to the right, and the left-hand side that we can't see on this piece of paper, if we would draw that, that would be placed over here. We're not drawing that, so we don't need to worry about it. Now, I don't mind too much if this is a little wonky. Right? I sometimes use this opportunity to sort of fix up my lines because Again, I'm drawing this freehand. So this line here is like a little bit wonky. But the idea is I should be able to use my construction lines to line everything up. I'm just drawing that there to help you see what the construction lines should have looked like. So that's the first object. We've got our top view on top, our front view below it. Our right side is drawn to the right. So if we were looking at the front, we then walked around to the right and looked at the object, what we can see is this object here. It's maybe was better before, I don't know. I'm not that fussed that I'm going to worry about it now. Okay, that is certainly an acceptable freehand version of object 2. I think I have another 6 objects. One day I need to get rid of those set squares. Okay, so we're now looking at objects 11 and 15. These are they're in a semi-random order, these objects. So object 11, we said that we can always start with a line, not that. We can always start with an object, a line that's perpendicular here. Never really hurts to have that. Okay, now remember we're looking at the front view. So the front view of our object is 6 by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So it's 6 by 7. It's 6 wide and 7 deep. So that'll be 6. And then it is 7 deep. Now you notice that I'm drawing these lines a lot longer than I need to, so that way these construction lines can be used to produce my side view. Now from here, what I have is in the middle of these. Now you'll notice that I didn't extend those construction lines all the way forward because I didn't feel as though I needed to. Though I suppose in this particular case it wouldn't have hurt because the object does continue there. So I'm going to go 3 down, extend that line across, and I'm going to go 3 down and extend that line across. Okay, down the bottom here, I've allowed just a bit of a gap, and the purpose of that gap is just to make it easy for me to, that just spaces the objects, and it looks like it's 4 is the total depth of this object, the total height of this object. We have a line at halfway, and then half of that again here. Okay, so now that I've got my lines for my top and my front views, what I'm going to do is I'm going to extend a 45-degree line. It is pretty important that you get that 45-degree line, that angle right. It's close enough. Because if you don't, the side view will be a little too wide. This just saves you from having to measure things out again. You can extend this line out and down, and it saves you having to measure things out again. So what I'm going to do now is, I'll just drop down these lines. That looks about right. It's the side views that always get a little wonky, and that's because I'm not using a ruler. Okay, so this is 2 by 3. Yeah, it's a little square. Right? So we've got one tower, the other tower. Actually, I should draw the outside of the objects. Okay, so that's my object. Now, I will say that sometimes it can actually be hard to see the object through the construction lines. You will eventually get used to that. The HSC requires that we can see a distant difference between your light and dark lines. That's pretty much it. So from the front view, it is going to look like and in the side view, what we'll see here that. Now the reason you're working in pairs or in threes is so that you can check your partner's work and say, I think you're missing, like you left that line out or you drew an extra line. You can help the other person to check their work. In this case here, we have the option of putting a hidden detail line. Hidden detail lines are thick, dark lines. I would suggest you don't need to use them. Only include them if you really feel like you think that's going to improve your experience of drawing these things. Later we can do hidden detail lines, but they're not required for the first exam that you are preparing for, the preliminary mid-course review. It's not an exam, it's clearly not an exam, it's the first assessment task that is a test. And the reason, also it's in the HSC engineering studies, we tend to use sections a lot more than we use hidden detail. It's very, very infrequent that hidden detail will be in a HSC exam. So let's quickly do 11. Let's see how quickly I can produce that. Now I'm going to try and keep this some of these lines. Let's see if I can keep it just because I'm drawing over that space a lot. Okay, so this object, remember we're viewing it from this direction. Everything we're drawing from is from the bottom left. So the top view, what we have is an object that is 3 plus 3, so an object that's 8 wide, and it is 7 deep, I guess I'm going to say. So 8 wide, 8 wide and 7 deep. 7 is what we had last time. Okay. So we need a vertical line that's 3 across, and then we need another vertical line that's 4 across, which we already measured out. Something that's 2 across. So if we're looking from the top, and then obviously we have 2, down 2, and down 2. Yeah, that looks about right. It's not quite 3, but it'll do. We've got the line there, we're going to have to start here for the height. And we have this object that is 3 by 4, so it's going to be 4 high. That's the height of our object. And we have most of the detail there. We don't need just a line that's 1 deep here. Okay. So from the top, what that's going to look like is, it's going to look like this. That is a solid line, so that we will see that line. Goes up 1. Okay, so that line needs to be brought across as well. Okay, so if we drop these lines down, what we see? From this side, we'll see sort of the front, what looks very front-ish, but it's not, because we've established that the front for all of these things is viewed from the bottom left. And that's our object, something along those lines. Okay. Feel free to skip. I won't know. Okay, our first object here, viewing from this direction, it is 6 wide and 6 deep. 6 wide and 6 deep. Now, halfway along we've got another line. And then halfway along here we have another line. This does not exist. And that's pretty much there what we see. And that goes down to, what are we going to see here? You're going to see halfway along the line. Okay, this one should be pretty quick. So this object, what we'll see is, looks like that from the top. Looking at the front, we're going to see this trapezium shape. And looking at the right side view, we're going to see 2 rectangles. There we go, that's our object. I'm sure I'm going to get something wrong eventually, but for the moment that'll do. I mean, I'm sure I may have already got something wrong, in which case let me know in the comments, or I probably have comments disabled. Big fan of comments disabled. I don't really need someone telling me I'm fat and ugly on the internet. Yeah. Okay, so our object is 6 by 6, which is exactly the same as the last one. So that means that, that's our top view anyway. Our top view is going to fit in a very similar direction. Okay, and the height of the object is also 6 high, because it's 4 plus 2, so it's 6 high. So that's the same general space as this one. Okay. From the top, we have a line that's 2 down. And then we have this object here, an object here. It's 2 across. Okay. So, 2 down from here, I've got an object that goes across, and 2 down, I have another object. Okay, so let's mark that out. And then my side view, I think that's what that looks like. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. Yeah. Okay. Last, oh no, there's 2 more after this. But I've already done that one. Oh, that's exciting. So what we've got here is 8 and 12. I'll uncover the 8. And let's get cracking. Definitely haven't done this one, but it is conveniently another 6 by 6, which I like, because it means we can use a lot of these lines. Let's actually, we can use that. It is a very similar looking object. Interestingly, I just want to point out that it is, compared to this object, 9 and 8, they look this side here is exactly the same. So the side view will be exactly the same. There's no change to the side view. The side view does not change at all between these two objects. That's just a nice, happy coincidence for me. But anyway, so what we've got is some construction lines. We've got 6 by 6. We've looked across and we've said, okay, the same thing here. We need a 2 and another 2, which is conveniently in the same spot. Okay. So I'm going to start down on the front view here and say that from the front view what we'll see is something that looks like this. And that one there. That we said is unchanged. Our top view will look very similar. Now, I'm a little bit off there. I'm not super happy with this one. But that gives us our object in that view. And lastly, we'll do 12. So 12 is a bit harder to know how long this is, but it is 6. Now it's 7. 5 by 7 in the top view. Okay. No, this is 7 wide. That's the same. A little bit wider. Let me keep that one there. Okay, so we've got a line that's 2 down from the top, and then the rest of it as is. We've got a line that's 4. That goes to there. You notice I don't need to continue it all the way down because I know that it's not that long. We said it's 5 tall, as well as being 5 wide. A little too wobbly with that one. Okay. So, from the top, what we're going to see is, it is 4 by 3. 4, 2 and 2. Actually, it's a little wider, something like that. Close enough. For freehand, I'm going to get away with that. And then here, yep, steeper than that. I really should have extended that line down to find where it crossed. So that line there goes. This is a pretty good one actually, I like this question. Nope. Nope, 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 nope. Okay, from the side, all you'll see is a rectangle shape. And there's no real line here. So that's all you'll see. Okay. That was something like 7 of those drawings. Hope that was of value to somebody. I just had a question from a student saying, do we need construction lines? No, you don't need construction lines, but they do need to be in the positions and orders that we said. So the right-hand view has to always be to this side. The left-hand view has to be over here somewhere. They have to be perfectly aligned. So if you don't draw construction lines, you have to at least think in your head of imaginary construction lines. Me, I'm pretty good at imaginary construction lines, but you don't need to draw this 45-degree line. That's totally optional. But the top view needs to be perfectly aligned with the front view, for instance. The side views need to be perfectly aligned. So for almost everybody, and I would argue until you've done this, until you've done 100 orthogonal drawings, I would draw the construction lines.